What's up, guys? This is Acid Root. So I'm going to talk to you guys about a particular disappointment in the rap community lately, and that is Krizz Kaliko leaving Strange Music. Now, really, he was basically like the lieutenant almost to Strange Music. If Tech Nine had the better releases off the label, albums KOD and Angelic and Ever Ready and some of these. I mean, Krizz Kaliko was pretty much like the second most prominent artist. And really, I looked up his listens on monthly listeners on Spotify. He gets about 300,000 people that are checking in with him normally. That's pretty good. I mean, I always considered, Krizz Kaliko is at least a celebrity when you pay attention to it. I had seen a clip of him on Instagram, and he actually does have a ring on his he has an iced out ring on his ring finger, and he had a nice chain and stuff like that. I mean, you'd think that most rappers at this point who have CDs in stores do have that, but I mean, really, how much money would you say Krizz Kaliko has? I mean, if Tech Nine is probably worth like 10 or 15 million, I'd probably say Krizz Kaliko is worth like maybe 3 million, which is still enough to get like some chains and shit, but it just feels that's just kind of the thing. But he's gone now, and that's just kind of the situation that goes along with that. Is it's disappointing just because Strange Music is it's gonna feel kind of empty. I didn't quite pay attention too much when Cut Calhoun left Strange Music, but I did notice when Ritz left, and I was kind of disappointed because Ritz still hasn't dropped an album since Last Call back in 2017. He's been saying that he's going to put out something, but I'm still having a wait and see attitude with that. But it just feels like every single artist who was on Strange Music who leaves kind of falls into the trap of just not doing it. And, I don't know what's up with Brother Lynch Hung. I mean, he was on Strange Music until like 2013. He dropped like a trilogy of albums with them or something, but I don't know. I mean, he might have done something, but Wikipedia really hasn't paid attention, and it just is tricky trying to find out information on that stuff. The hip hop websites I visit don't really talk about him that much, and he was a pioneer for horrorcore. But yeah, I mean, the artists that leave Strange Music, they just don't really have much of a career afterward. And Cut Calhoun finally put out an album like this year that, obviously didn't sell that much, but he did at least do it. I mean, he'd been off Strange Music for about 5 years now, but um, the whole thing is he dropped an EP, and then I was lost. That was back in the early years of Acid Roots, and I was kind of thinking, okay, what's he gonna do? But it took him a while to finally get that going. So I don't know, for fans of Krizz Kaliko, as far as saying, well, is he going to be as prominent as he was back in 2008, 2010, 2012? It just doesn't seem like it. But I just listened, kind of skimmed through some of his most popular songs like Titties and Kill Shit and Unstable, some of those type songs. I mean, those are actually good. I mean, considering that Krizz Kaliko didn't really ever put out singles, or at least it didn't seem like he did, um, to know what his actual most popular songs are is kind of surprising. Because when I used to listen to songs like Vitiligo or the albums like Vitiligo and Kicking and Screaming and uh, Shock Treatment and Genius and some of those. I mean, I just picked songs that I thought had the best beats just because he would have like one music video. There would be singles, but those were not, just like with Tech Nine, those are not always the best songs. And that's just the whole concept of a Tech Nine project, is even though he drops a single and that's the one with the music video and the most attention, it may not necessarily be the best song that's on the project. And I think, obviously as time has gone on, it's kind of reached a point where that's not as charming as it was back in 2007. But, I do I'm glad for the fact that he was like a second helping of what you liked from Tech Nine. So it's going to be curious. I mean, I've seen his post on Instagram once again, and he said, sorry for not answering your texts. I've just been going through all this emotion of just, basically being a free agent again. And this is kind of like, to me, Instagram is as much of a bullshit website as Twitter is because people will say coming soon or this is on the way or something like that, and then it just doesn't actually happen. So I'm kind of with the gesture of thinking, if we do get more Krizz Kaliko, I mean, it's really unspecified as far as when it's going to happen. Because the Go album that came out back in early 2016, I mean, we haven't heard even new singles from the guy. So it's just kind of makes you wonder what's going on. No, I mean, he's been on Tech Nine projects. It's not like their relationship is sour, but it makes you wonder what is actually going to happen. I mean, if some of these cats, there's just not too many cats in the rap business right now that just retire, that are just like, fuck it, I'm done. I don't care what happens. I don't care how much my fans want it. I'm just kaput. It's over. Like, I think Scarface has done that, and maybe like, people like KRS-One or Spice One, those type people from back in 1986 and shit, maybe they're doing that. But I mean, it just is not, most cats, they say that they're done, but then they do eventually come back. So I'm just kind of, that's like the main thing is, I mean, my biggest problem is I just don't have the patience to wait 6 years. I mean, I realize, when it's like, hey, I was 22 when this last came out, and now I'm, almost 29. I mean, that's not my actual age, but, cats pulling crap like that earlier this decade, this can't really mess with it. So I just hope that Krizz Kaliko is actually going to put something out and showcase, because it's been a while for Ritz. I mean, I still pay attention. I still keep tabs on Ritz. I don't keep tabs as much on Cut Calhoun, but I do with Ritz. So I'm just kind of wondering, what's going to happen there. I would like another album like Son of Sam, just hearing those popular songs off of that project. That's really the last Krizz album, which, was 6 years ago. So it's kind of, obviously I think if Tech Nine features, it's only going to be like one time instead of like 4 or 5 like it used to be. But it just was too bad that he didn't renew that contract and stuff. We really could have used that. So yeah, hopefully Krizz keeps his shit together and still wants to do rap music and can actually put out at least, 1, 2, or 3 more albums that are kick ass.